let's go into jungle. Jungle isn't been interesting on. Here we go. Can I start this off as the jungle?
Yeah.
All right, starting this off. I apologize. I will do extra prayers tonight, but I don't have Sejuani on my list. I don't know. I just realized it. I had to be fair. I made my list, and then we were like putting it together, and it didn't look right to me. So I took an hour today remaking all my tier lists, and I happened to not put in Sejuani. Sejuani I actually don't think is that good right now. I think it's like before I would put like S plus, like the best in the world. It's also kind of team comp dependent, where I feel like it should be like in B or C. I don't think it should be like anything above that. It's like easy, but I mean, I guess we're in DCCS, so it's like it's not punishable. But I think there's other tanks that can do its job better, unless you have like a specific team comp where you have like Yasuo and like a melee top or something like that. But if you have like mostly range or only one melee, it's kind of feels bad. It's so hard to stack your E. It just doesn't feel good.
Now let's talk about, for me, I have my red herring, which is probably Graves down in the do not play, for the love of God, please stop it. So fun story. The idea behind this content came from myself for starting this content. This content was started by seeing 2 Graves games where different junglers went like 0-7 on the champion, who is a mad busted champion right now, by the way.
True.
Like, stupidly busted.
Can I get some trues in the chat?
Busted. And it just fell flat on its face. So, Graves is down there at the bottom because I just don't trust anybody to play Graves anymore. The trust has been gone. It's been taken out. It's done. That being said, I do think it's interesting. You have one blind OP.
Yeah, we have one big DC, and I've been waiting for this ever since I saw your list. Guys, Pantheon is really good. Like, I don't know what it is, and I've been like playing it a little bit. I've been like seeing it. And like I know we had this whole like discussion about like scaling and stuff, but I think this champion is so busted early that it's actually good, and I think some teams can actually play it. Yeah. Like, and it's not, I just see people saying, well, teams don't dive. Teams do dive, but they don't know how to dive. Now, it is kind of hard to screw up a dive with Pantheon. Like, I don't typically dive people that much. Like that's just my jungle playstyle. But I play Pantheon, I'm like ulting everywhere. Like, I'm just eating tower shots. It makes it so much easier. Like, it's such a good jungle champ, and you, like, almost auto-win, like, every matchup. You're playing into tank jungle, so you get to have your fun. Like, you're playing into a Mumu as a Pantheon, just invade level 3. Every time. You steal all 3 camps, you get a kill. It's so broken. And since Paths are, like, pretty predictable in the jungle, I think Panther's, like, super abusable. I think it's one of the, like, typically, this is where I, like, have my Warwick, right? Because Warwick's like, oh, I know how to abuse the jungler. Like, I've researched their past. Like, I know how to do it. Now it's Pantheon. I think Pantheon's the way to go.
See, and you have Pantheon, and
it's like simple. Like I don't know how you screw up Pantheon. It's a point and click stun.
Here's the way you screw it up. You don't gank. You don't effectively roam with your mid laner. You don't do. There's a bunch of different ways, and that's why I actually have Pantheon over in my C tier because of those factors where I don't see junglers actually doing stuff like that, and it's just one of those things where it's like, Pantheon jungle is really good. Like, don't get me wrong. If you want to play a champion in solo queue that you will hard carry with, Pantheon's a good champion to do that on. Yep. However, in DCCS, I don't see junglers making those paths. I don't see them using the early advantage that Pantheon gives. So that's why I have him in my C tier.
I think that's fair. The one disagreement I have is as, like, a person who, like, I would say is a pretty shit jungler and is like a boomer. If I can play this champion early game and like I don't play like I don't play Lee Sin. I have like 1 game of Lee Sin on record. I have like 5 games of Lee Sin. Like I don't play early game junglers like ever. But if I can play Pantheon, then I think like Cursed Wolf can play Pantheon, and I think like Nighthawk can play Pantheon, and like all the other junglers. I'm like pretty confident. It's not a hard champion.
Incarnation leading the way for everybody out there, you know, like.
It's I don't know. It's so ridiculous.
The jungle trailblazer. But that being said, my S pluses were J4, Nocturne, and Rek'Sai. I think Nocturne and DCCS is actually brain dead good because you get the 6, hit R, everybody panics. I have not seen a DCCS team that I'm like, oh, dude, the comms in that team are so clean. Every time you hear darkness, I assume that there's a lot of DCCS teams that just go quiet. And they're like, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh man, in the bot lane, they're like, oh yeah, he dove us bot. And it's just like, just taking away that information and making it all spooky is great. While I also think J4 is like blind pick good because one, he's the king of the jungle. Two, every jungler should be able to play him. If you can't play, if you go to a jungler for your team and you say, what champions can you play in the jungle? And they do not list J4, find a new jungler. That's just how I personally feel because he's literally like one of the best junglers. He's not the beginner jungler that you would learn how to jungle, but he is a staple jungler pick. It's like a mid laner not knowing how to play Orianna.
Yeah, I kind of agree because it's a fairly simple champ and everyone should know. And this is like where I go into mechanics a little bit. Is I feel like a lot of people perceive Jarvan to be like a very mechanical, non-mechanical jungler. But like there's like very certain things where I watch junglers play Jarvan like for most of the season and like they don't hit EQ. And the first time ever, I don't remember what team it was, but you freaked out about hitting EQ flash. Like that was something like I practiced and I just don't see any other junglers doing it at all. Like I feel like it's a very like core component. And people don't hit it, so they just EQ, don't hit the knockup, and it's just like, oh, I guess. That's kind of... I had him in S, but that was the only reason why I couldn't put him in S.
So I also have Rek'Sai in S, which is I think is the one that people are going to give me crap on, but I think having unique pathing is really good. I think Rek'Sai is really strong. I think instead of Pantheon, I would value Rek'Sai more because I think she makes it to where people don't know how to ward versus Rek'Sai in the DCCS, I feel like.
In general,
and it's super strong. Has a great ultimate, great gank ability. It's just a very all around solid champion. It's broken in solo queue in my opinion. I think it's really good in solo queue. So I think it translates well.
I think she's good, but I don't think junglers think enough about path for her to like actually like. Yeah. I don't think it's something where like a jungler like hops in DCCS and it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this like expert path. I've seen it like once this split, but they like hard through. It was Hunter Thieves where he like went around the ward but then just went straight in their jungle and like hard through. I don't like see a jungler. I'm like, wow, like that path was really good, or like, wow, that was like a really well thought out path. They're like, oh no, you just did red, wolves, blue, invade or crab or gromp. Like I see that consistently. I never see like anything unique or like anything different.
And I understand that. That's a fair point.
Otherwise, I would agree. I think Rek'Sai is pretty good.
You didn't mention Sejuani. You mentioned that Sejuani wasn't on your list.
No.
Where the hell is Warwick on your list? I'm skimming through it. I don't see him at all. And you are the inventor of Warwick in the DCCS.
So I realized I also hard inted again, and I think Warwick's such a bad champion right now that he's not on my list in general. I also think it's really funny. This is the first one that comes to mind, is Cursed Wolf is getting Warwick banned against him, because I think Warwick is not in a good place right now. I think he needs some help. I think he got buffed a little bit, but like there's other champs that I would prefer that does his job but better. Like I only could make Warwick work because I like knew like little tidbits. But if you don't like have that, I would probably have him placed in like comfort, maybe even D, if I actually had him on. But I just don't think he's like good enough to be like blinded, to be like pick or banned, or like maybe I would put him in counter just depending on some matchups. But it's pretty hard to place him right now because he is easy, but like there's other easy junglers that I would definitely prefer.
Inside of mine here, I do want to like you're talking about junglers that are easy. A jungler that I have that's actually very easy up here is Zach.
Zach.
You and me both have him as SOP. There's a reason why. This is the same point as what I had with Rek'Sai, except it's easier to do. 1, 2, he's just a big old tanky boy. 3, he brings so much CC into every single fight. And 4, he is almost unkillable, it feels like at times. So I think Zach does not get played enough.
I think like one other like low key thing about Zach though is like people typically, especially in DCS, don't like account for it. Where like you're like, oh, I'm playing in Zach jungle, I have to like ward it like a different way or something like that. Like I know this is a big thing in like season 2 or season 3. I remember like one game where we got like Zach played against us in our like mid laner. If you like remember, like he didn't ward for it and he got super tilted by it because like it's just not like a switch that flips. And I think Zach's like gank pass like are like pretty good. Like people just don't account for it. It's like very surprising.
And something else is really surprising. You talked about War being trash. You actually went through all the effort of separating the unholy tritany of jungler. Oh, yeah. Did you not put Amumu on your list either?
I did. Amumu's an S. I think Amumu's good.
I was looking down for me, but I have Amumu, Poppy, and Warwick. I actually the first things I did when I was making my jungle tier list, I was like thinking of DCCS junglers. I was like, they all play Amumu, Poppy, or Warwick. Okay,
Right.
I'm gonna put them in A tier because apparently that works for them.
I disagree. I don't think it's a they pop off on those three as the champions. I think I have like my own idea on how this all happened. Where like people like me and Nighthawk like back in the day kind of play these champions and it like worked. But like to be fair, Warwick I don't even think was that good at the time. Like we made them look better than it probably should. No offense, But also sometimes I'll see games where like Poppy jungle gets played and I'm not thinking like, wow, that Poppy like really popped off. I'm like, no, that Poppy AFK farmed while all 3 lanes won. Like I never like think that Poppy does really well. I think I have Poppy and counter. Either I'm counter or comfort. I don't know. I don't remember. But I think Poppy is good in like certain comps. But like other than that, I just think her farming is so and I would just prefer like a different tank.
Yeah. Well, I think Poppy's really good. Just like the base damage and whatnot. Poppy's like really good into dashers and whatnot. That's how I personally feel.
Yep.
And I actually think Poppy is actually a champion. Like, I don't know if you noticed over in the top lane tier list, I actually had Poppy pretty high up because I think she's actually a sleeper strong tank to play. Mm-hmm. And I think she's very mobile. I think she brings a good set of CC, even though I do think it's conditional CC, which I think is a very weird thing because any champion that uses conditional CC, which is like a CC that is determined by a set of conditions, you do need to pair it with something else that brings its own unique CC that is not relying on any conditions to be filled. So I do think Poppy's really good. I think if you pair to get Poppy together with someone else that in your team composition that has good CC, like a Lissandra mid lane, for instance, I think that's a very good combo for sure. But yeah, I think that is a big thing there for us. We also have our fair share of champions, like Nunu. You and me both have
I'm
Nunu
so glad. I think Nunu is a sleeper pick, and this is like the whole like my word against Sejuani is I've learned from second, if you remember, and we played a scrim against him, and I've like always used Nunu as a Sejuani counter pick. Like if you get Sejuani auto-locked against, you just play Nunu because his champion's brain dead. It's like super good, and it's like always gonna be useful. Like and the snowball like in lane ganks are always catch people off guard. I think Nunu's really good.
I do want to also say somebody said, "Do you neither of us have Kane top on our list?" No, I don't think either one of us did.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I had it in D tier because it's like so new, and I'm pretty sure it's getting nerfed that I don't think people should start practicing it. But if I start seeing it this weekend, I wouldn't mind it actually.
Yeah,
I've seen some decent games. I think it's like a counter if you practiced it. Yeah.
But yeah, no. Nunu's really good. I think Nunu. If Nunu actually, the craziest thing about Nunu is the fact that he can level 2 gank so super effectively that it's actually disgusting. And then he just chain ganks, and that's where Nunu is at its strongest. But yeah, no, I think where Nunu's at its strongest is when it's catching people off guard and really being able to rotate around and play the objective game while also just chain ganking lanes because he's so effective at doing such.
His R zoning control is like really
it's disgustingly good. Yeah, and his base damages are actually really nutty too. His sustain, it's great. We did have somebody in chat actually say we're sleeping on Diana. You have Diana, I believe, over in your D tier. Well, I say please do not do it because I don't have faith in anybody playing Diana jungle. I think it's okay.
Yeah,
I don't think it's good. Even after everything, I think there's better champions to play. Like, why play Diana when you can play Echo? But I do think it's a good jungler to maybe play in solo queue or normals or whatever, but I don't recommend it inside the DCCS jungle pool, and I just don't want to see it.
Yeah, there's one pick I want to talk about. I'm actually kind of surprised no one's talked about it, but people are asking about Morgana jungle. No, Morgana jungle, that's like low IQ stuff. It's all about the brand jungle, okay? Trust me, I've been preaching this for like years. Brand jungle is legit and is actually like playable in DCCS because people never invade you. So you just get the AFK farm, hit 6, Dark Harvest stack people. It's legit. Brand jungle.
Yeah, you have him in B tier, and I'm just going to put this out here. We had an in-house, and there was a brand jungle, and he got absolutely stomped. So
it's in-houses. It's in-houses. Come on, guys. We know in-houses don't count.
But
it's
yeah,
so good.
I feel like it's actually kind of funny because I do think brand jungle is okay. Morgana, I actually put in D tier for myself because I think Morgana jungle actually has some plausibility for it. Somebody just posted that I forgot to put Ivern in, so that's the
Bruh, come on. Ivern's legit.
I forgot Ivern.
Yeah.
If I had to put Ivern anywhere, I'd probably put him in C tier though, because it's legitimately a support pick. If you're comfortable on it, like sure, it works out fine, but I don't think that's really good inside the DCCS. I think you need a little bit more agency or CC that comes out of the jungle from just looking at who plays inside of the jungle. And while Ivern can provide some very nice things, the only teams I can really imagine pulling that off would be teams that have players that play really high impact, high carry champions. Like I could see 100 Thieves playing it just because Jinwoo is actually pretty solid.
I agree.
I could see EG playing it because they have Sion and Saint who are incredibly strong in their solo lanes. So I could see it in those, but I wouldn't imagine it on Fly, who can be a little bit of a coin flip. I wouldn't imagine seeing it on Dignitas, because even though they have a very strong 8 bot lane for themselves, like guaranteed just about every single game we've seen of Dig, they've had a strong bot lane. They don't have like they're hit or miss on their solo lane performances, so I wouldn't want it there either. So yeah.
What do you think about Karthus?
So they basically changed it to where he's not a mid laner ever because of his move speed. He moves slower than Yuumi. He is slower than the freaking cat. I put him in B tier because I think he does take some know-how to just clear and know like what your strengths are. So it's one of those things where I put B tier as like, all right, you need to actually like put some games into this champion and know exactly what you're doing. But I don't think it's difficult. I think he's actually super high damage, and I think he's probably one of the best like carry threats that you can possibly have locked into a team. I do think he does need certain compositions to make him work a little bit better, but the Requiem is still as strong. So
yeah, like to me, it's like there's so many like tank picks that typically get played jungle. That like if you're in a blind Sejuani, I mean I guess we saw this 100 Thieves games. I think it could have got navigated a little bit better. But I think Karthus just gets the AFK farm and it's just really good in a lot of tanks. That's kind of why I have it in A instead of B. I think I could see the case for either, but I just personally have it A.
And I can understand that. Whoa, Sion called me out on this too. I don't have Nidalee on here.
Good job.
I'm really forgetting all these junglers. So fun fact, I had to remake my list because I completely messed up and I forgot some champions. I know I have. And jungle is the role. I also missed 180 carry. I already talked to Kenta about this. So I was just like, I know I missed 180 carry that I would get flamed for. But I would probably put Nidalee in D tier. The only reason I put him in D tier is because Nidalee is good in the hands of somebody that knows the champion inside out. And that's about it. And even then, it's just like there's better champions to play.
Yeah, like, there's like champions that would, I would say, do with their job maybe like a little bit worse, but like it's easier to get to, which is kind of what we're like playing towards. This like kind of goes on topic of like Lee Sin and Elise. Because like
Lee Sin's really good, and I have him in Do Not Play, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to see it.
I have Lee Sin in comfort because I feel like there's like 2 or 3 like people that like that's their comfort champ, and it's like okay, it's not like clean, but I'd rather see them on that than like any of the other D champs. I would say. I almost put both of them just in E. I had them in E straight away, and I kind of thought about it, and I'm like, Elise, like I don't see many people play Elise, and I just don't think it would be that good. But at least like. Even if you don't know how to insect, you at least hopefully know how to press R away from your like 80 carry. Yeah, I just feel like people played a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with that, and it does draw into. There's one other champion that you and me both have in D, but I would love to see in DCCS before we go into our Nets thing. I'd love to see Evelyn. I don't know if that's a champion that you would be interested in, but I would think that would be so fun to see inside the DCCS, just because. The way the champion kit technically works, it sounds like such a fun idea, but at the same time, it's a champion that isn't really good right now.
Yeah, the champ isn't good right now. But if like a one trick, if like a one trick came in and played it, I think I'd be really happy because I think like high level Nidalee, not Nidalee, Evelyn play would be like pretty cool. Like with stuff like I feel like cool things like stealing Baron at like 3,000 HP would like be like really hypey. But other than that, I just don't see another situation where she can get picked. And I don't know if she has like a strong counter matchup.
Yeah, it's just like Evelyn's like blah. Why play Evelyn when you can play literally any other AP jungler?
Shyvana, AP Shyvana, perfect example.
Yeah, and you actually have Shyvana in B tier, and I have her in the very bottom because I have seen the AP Shyvana be played in the DCCS, and it did not work at all. And I just think that I don't have faith in people being able to play that.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. I just think it's a really easy champion. I don't think the champion's hard. I think people
Apple has it right, by the way. Where's Zombie Angie? Where's Zombie Angie?
Well, like the thing is like I look at it as like sure they're maybe not piloting correctly, but it's not like a very like irreversible mistake. Like for me to say like oh Lee Sin like oh like it's gonna take you forever to actually like get good at Lee Sin, but like Shyvana like. This champion's like fairly easy and just like don't gank level 2, 3, 4, or 5. Still track the jungler hopefully, and you're fine. You just hard skill. It's similar to Karthus, I think.
She's really good in terms of solo queue, but I don't like her in DCCS. With that being said, I think we can go over to our mid lane here.